The 19th century was one of the most important, if not the most important, time period of human history. It was the age of industrialization and modernization. The course of human history changed forever during this time period. A definable moment of this time period is the birth of nationalism, started by the famous Napoleon.
After the politically pointless French Revolution, Napoleon emerged as a single ruler of France. He unites France and begins the birth of nationalism. From there, he went on a famous rampage, in which he began to conquer the majority of Western Europe. Then, he made the fatal mistake that Hitler would follow in suit with. He invaded Russia, a feat only accomplished by the Mongols. From his invasion in 1812 came a slow and tiring defeat, which ended with his exile to the Italian island of Elba. Napoleon had a finale then. He escaped exile, returned to France, and reigned until he was finally defeated at Waterloo. I surrender.
This will never happen again. You are exiled to St. Helena on the other side of the Atlantic.
Napoleon was not a good guy, but he did give birth to the nationalist movement. Another key piece of the 19th century was the Industrial Revolution. This was the height of this revolution. Innovations were flying on our heads. The steam engine, the telephone, the light bulb, and even the camera were created during this time period. Also, previous inventions, such as the sewing machine, were improved during this time period. Finally, automated guns and weapons were invented. This gave a completely new meaning to war. A key characteristic of the Industrial Revolution was the change of production. Before the Industrial Revolution, products were slowly made by hand.
Oh my gosh, this is so inefficient and it takes so long. Ow!
However, after the Industrial Revolution, machines were used to make products.
Nowadays, it's so much faster to do the same amount of work, especially with these new and improved sewing machines. This is all thanks to the Industrial Revolution.
This created an excess of products, lower prices, and gave incentive for further industrial innovations. Overall, both nationalism and the Industrial Revolution played a key role with the final important chapter of the 19th century, imperialism. In this time period, Europe grasped control of the entire globe.
Imperialism was the child of nationalism and industrialization. Countries needed resources to industrialize, and they needed pride for their country. This imperialistic nature was seen with the Opium War in China. Queen Victoria of England had refused to stop selling the drug opium to China. The China Commissioner, Lin Zexu, was furious. He had been trying to protect China from the opium issue for many years. The result mirrored that of the Boston Tea Party.
We need to do something about the opium in our country.
Yeah, we do. Wait, we could do like the Americans did and like throw crates off a ship.
Great idea.
Okay, let's go.
Queen Victoria and England were not going to let that happen again. So with their superior navy, they waged war. They destroyed Lin Zexu and China's trade and economy. They grabbed a giant sphere of influence and began their imperialistic terror. This led to the scramble for Africa.
After the Opium War and developing spheres of influence in China, the Europeans moved to Africa. Africa was huge for imperialism. It had a lot of natural resources for Europe to claim. It was also the perfect way to influence an entire continent towards your belief system. European countries rushed in so fast and furiously that the Berlin Conference was needed to resolve issues.
We're gathered here in Berlin to discuss what happened in Africa over the past few months.
Together, all of us European countries need to decide what we have to do in Africa. Two main points must occur. We must abolish slavery and the slave trade throughout the continent. Also, there needs to be free trade throughout the entire continent of Africa.
I agree wholeheartedly.
I also agree wholeheartedly with the plan.
If we're all in agreement, let's sign a document making this official.
It is now official. The Berlin Conference also helped divide Africa among the European powers, and Africa was defined by these borders well into the 20th century.
This century is by far the most important century to human existence. This is when industrialization was the most productive, nationalism was created, European dominance exerted, and countries developed. Without this century, the entire world path would have changed.